Hi, I'm Sunny from LoreForged, and I'm here to talk to you about a very serious and important problem.
Bees.
As one of the owners of the Sleepy Owl Tavern, it's my job to make sure that adventurers have all the provisions they need for when they go out on an adventure. Whether in the Riverlands or elsewhere, you're not going to have a successful journey without provisions. This means food and ale. You ever try to kill a goblin on an empty stomach? I don't think so. Well, it turns out that in order to get food, you need pollination. And in order to get pollination, you need bees. Now, we'll come back to this, but just know that bees are a crucial part in getting food into your pack, ale into your mug, and paying your bar tab. And herein lies the problem. Ever since we came back through the portal, there have been fewer and fewer bees. Why? Well, I don't know. That's complicated and there's lots of different theories, but we at the Sleepy Owl Tavern decided that we weren't just gonna sit around, we were gonna do something about it. So, I'm getting bees. Now, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, if you have your bee puns ready, then let's go on an adventure. It'll be sweet. And who knows? We might even create a buzz in the community. Once I decided to raise bees, well, I had to learn how to do that, so I had to get some books. Turns out that when you tell people that you're raising bees, well, things just kind of show up in the mail. Look at this thing. This book is over 100 years old. Cash sent it to me. And you know what? It's pretty much the same as this. So I guess beekeeping hasn't changed much. Once I figured out how big a beehive was, I knew I had to get it off the ground, so I built a bee bench. The goal is to have one hive that expands into two, but I think with most things in life, when the bees are happy, they make more bees. So we had to have room at the inn for a third. But I don't think the spouse was too happy with the idea of 3 beehives in the tavern, so best to keep it to a 2-hive operation, I think. Then I had to find a spot for them. It turns out that bees like dappled shade, which means a little bit of sun and a little bit of shade. Picky bees, but I found a place. It is out of the way in between some trees so nobody accidentally runs into a hive of bees, which would probably be bad for business at the tavern. Now, if bees get too hot, they will huddle around the door and they'll fan to keep air conditioning going through the hive, which is pretty clever. If they're too cold, they just huddle up around each other. So, bees are pretty good at this thing. They've been doing it for a while. This is where the bees live. It's called a brood box. It is a deep brood box with 8 frames inside that are filled with bees making more bees and honey at the same time. When the brood box gets full, we put on another brood box. That's another 8-frame deep brood box. More room for the bees. The bees in there are making more bees and they're also making honey, but that honey is not for us. That's honey for the bees. If we want honey, we have to put on a queen excluder to prevent the queen from coming upstairs. And then we're gonna add a super. That little guy up there with slightly smaller frames is making honey just for us because the queen can't get through the queen excluder. So what happens when that super gets full? We add one final super. That is the top floor of the bee penthouse. And all the stuff that's in the supers, well, that honey is for the tavern. Well, that's great. You've got a bee box, a bee bench, a bunch of books on bees, but where are the bees? Well, that's for next episode. Can anyone say Jeep full of live bees?
Bees! Bees in the car! Bees everywhere! God, they're huge! They're ripping my flesh off!